Germany and Italy just triggered a global alarm. $245 billion in gold is being airlifted out of New York in just 8 weeks. Not quietly, on NATO planes, under military guard, and under Donald Trump's nose. Why? Because Berlin and Rome no longer trust the U.S. to guard their wealth. The Fed's credibility is cracking, markets are on edge, and if this move spirals, it could spike mortgage rates, tank bonds, and rattle the dollar's throne. This isn't about gold. It's about who still believes in America. On June 14, 2025, a NATO logistics memo leaked in Brussels. It revealed an active plan to transfer 1,730 tons of gold, worth over $245 billion, from the New York Federal Reserve back to Europe within 8 weeks. The operation involves IL-76 and C-17 cargo aircraft departing at midnight under radar silence, supervised by NATO's Allied Movement Coordination Center. According to Bundesbank inventory logs cross-referenced by Bloomberg, Germany alone holds 3,352 tons in reserves, with 236 tons still stored in the U.S. vaults. Italy's Bank of Italia confirmed that 700 tons, about 43% of its reserves, remain under U.S. custody. The justification: a growing fear in both Berlin and Rome that America's internal instability under Trump is no longer a tolerable risk. Storing bullion abroad today is a geopolitical liability, said Fabio De Masi, a former MEP now with Germany's BSW party. But if moving gold out of America signals distrust in U.S. financial institutions, what happens to a global system built on that very trust? Friedrich Merz, head of Germany's CDU, has taken a calculated pivot. Once dismissive of repatriation demands, Merz is now leveraging the gold withdrawal debate to regain momentum lost to the AfD, whose April 2025 platform made gold sovereignty central. A May 29 Bundestag poll found 54% of Germans now support bringing all gold reserves home, a sharp rise from 31% in 2021, according to ZDF and ARD. Internal CDU memos confirmed by Der Spiegel show Merz views the operation as dual-purpose a negotiation lever against U.S. tariffs on German autos and a credibility win ahead of the 2025 elections. But the Bundesbank's June 3 statement reaffirmed its confidence in the New York Fed as a secure partner, exposing the chasm between political ambition and institutional caution. Behind closed doors, Merz's allies in the European Parliament, like Markus Ferber, are linking Trump's rhetoric about foreign reserves to real financial risk. The CDU is not just playing electoral defense, it's testing whether gold can be weaponized without triggering economic blowback. The tension: if they use the gold card too aggressively, could it backfire in markets before it scores at the ballot box? In Italy, Giorgia Meloni is navigating a crisis of promises versus penalties. Her 2019 campaign pledge to repatriate Italy's U.S.-based gold has resurfaced, now tethered to a volatile trade war with Washington. According to a June 2025 Il Sole 24 Ore report, the Italian government is weighing weekly gold shipments of 60 tons, routed through NATO military corridors, with full execution possible by late August. But trade ministry officials warn that activating this plan could sabotage ongoing steel and aluminum tariff negotiations. Il Fatto Quotidiano economic columnist Enrico Grazzini warned that leaving 43% of our reserves under Trump's Fed is reckless, while Meloni's aides argue that abrupt withdrawal would send markets into disarray. Italy's central bank, facing pressure from both sides, remains silent, an indication that the decision may not come from technocrats, but from a political risk calculation. The deeper dilemma is this: can Meloni repatriate gold without triggering financial retaliation, or will hesitation brand her a populist in retreat? The scale and speed of the operation are honestly just staggering. A leaked Bundeswehr logistics presentation reviewed by Reuters outlines a 10-week flight schedule for moving up to $210 billion worth of gold, split into 45 overnight sorties. Each shipment involves armored convoys from the Fed's Manhattan Vault to Stewart Air National Guard Base, with round-the-clock NATO surveillance. Germany previously executed a similar operation from 2013 to 2017. Repatriating 674 tons from Paris and New York with zero public disclosure until it was all done. But this time, the public narrative is unraveling in real time. And, global bond desks are watching closely. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet lists foreign official gold deposits under account code H.4.1, which would shrink by $29 billion in asset value over the transfer period. While legally a neutral transaction, its symbolic weight is anything but. According to HSBC commodities strategist James Steele, gold withdrawals on this scale are interpreted as a signal that political risk is now embedded in the Fed itself. The real question isn't about logistics, it's whether this flight of gold becomes a run on confidence. The first shock came not from Berlin or Rome, but actually from Wall Street. According to JP Morgan's June bond market outlook, a 1,730-ton gold withdrawal scenario would produce short-term upward pressure on reverse repo auctions, causing overnight bid-ask spreads to widen by $22 to $26 billion in week 1 alone. Treasury yields would likely jump 7 to 10 basis points, which sounds small, until you realize it raises mortgage costs by an average of $380 per year on a $350,000 loan, according to Mortgage News Daily. That same shift adds $44 billion annually to U.S. debt servicing, per CBO forecasts. And yet, this isn't even the main issue. The surreal twist is that while the gold is physically leaving, it doesn't cost the U.S. a single dollar. Only the illusion that the dollar is untouchable. If confidence is the collateral, then every ton repatriated becomes a message. America's vault may still be full, but its guarantees are no longer free. Since January 2025, President Trump has imposed over $23 billion in new tariffs on European goods, including a 20% levy on German auto exports and steel quotas targeting Italy's southern corridor. But the economic retaliation may now be financial. A June 2025 report from the Financial Times shows that German lawmakers are privately linking gold withdrawal to leverage against Washington's tariff agenda, arguing that if U.S. policy undermines Europe's trade surplus, then holding reserves in New York is strategically indefensible. Fabio De Masi, speaking to FAZ, stated that Trump's politicization of the Fed makes continued trust untenable. Meanwhile, Italy's Undersecretary for Foreign Trade told La Repubblica that the administration is reevaluating all assets under U.S. custody in light of escalating trade threats. The irony? The very tariffs meant to pressure Europe into submission may be triggering a quiet asset run, one that bypasses customs and hits U.S. credibility where it hurts most. But what happens when asset withdrawal spreads beyond Europe? Bloomberg's June 20th bond monitor shows that United States 10-year Treasury yields spiked 12 basis points in just 2 trading days, following rumors of European gold repatriation. That marks the sharpest weekly rise since March 2023. Traders, cited thin liquidity and anticipatory sell-offs by European institutions hedging against further Fed politicization. JP Morgan analysts estimate that if Germany and Italy liquidate $18 billion in short-duration treasuries alongside gold transfers, as internal central bank documents suggest, it could depress demand enough to lift 10-year yields by another 7 to 9 basis points.